You want to give a speech, but you don't know how to start. In fact, you don't really know what the protocol is. As a matter of fact, is there a specific way to start a speech? If you want to know the answer to all these questions, follow me on the other side and I'll give you great tips on how you can start your speech and keep your audience attention until the end of your presentation.
A foggy morning river scene may be beautiful, but a clear and to-the-point speech is what makes a presentation truly impactful. So, let's learn to speak powerfully.
Hello everyone, I'm Marie-Josée from Powerful Communication. Today, I'll give you 10 great tips on how to engage your audience so that you can keep their attention from the beginning till the end of your presentation. So the answer to my question at the beginning of this video is start with a strong hook. Open with a surprising statistic, a provocative question, or a compelling anecdote to immediately grab attention. And to keep this attention till the end of your speech, well, here are 10 effective tips that will help you with your presentation. Tip number 1 is tell a story or give examples or anecdotes. Insert relevant stories, case studies if you are giving a scientific presentation or a little bit more technical presentation, and real-world examples to illustrate your points and make them more relatable. Point number 2 is use visual aids. Like the saying says, one picture is worth 1,000 words, and that can really help you illustrate what you're trying to say. It can help improve your message. However, you have to be careful. Too much of a good thing can have the opposing effect. If you use too many pictures, your audience can feel a little bit confused as to where they need to look. So just to have one or two, no more than 2 pictures to illustrate your point. Remember, visual aids are not there for decorations. Point number 3 is involve the audience. You can involve your audience by asking questions. Conduct a quick poll, for example, to make your presentation more interactive. This will have the effect of relieving the pressure that you may feel at the beginning, especially if you feel really nervous, if you're afraid of having a memory blank or stumbling over your words. So this will help you relax a little bit, and when you're listening to your audience responses, that'll give you a few seconds to calm down. Also, that will create a conversation, a communication with your audience, so you will be speaking to a group of people, not just speaking in front of an audience. Point number 4, use vocal variety. When giving your presentation, it really helps to make it more interesting. For example, if you are a beginner, you may have the tendency of speaking with a monotone voice, use no pauses, and try to get off of the stage as soon as possible. However, there's another way. Start by using effective pauses. Take the time to breathe when you're speaking. And when you're talking about something that's important, you need to raise a little bit the tone of your voice and speed up. And if you're talking about something that is serious, you need to lower your tone of voice. And this way will make your audience connect with you. They will see how emotionally involved you are. And this will help them get emotionally involved as well, especially if you want your audience to take a specific action at the end of your presentation. Point number 5 is to use body language effectively. Make eye contact, use natural gestures, avoid describing things that don't need description. I've seen many people in the past describe the sun and the rain. It's awkward and it's not natural. So how do you use natural gestures? Well, here's a trick that you can do. You can use the mirror method or use your camera, for example, your smartphone or a regular camera, and videotape yourself. What you do is when you're looking at yourself, if you are using your mirror, look at yourself and think that you're speaking to your best friend or a supportive colleague from work. You can do that for a few minutes. No need to do this for a very long time. After that, after repeating the process several times, this goes over a period of maybe several days. So that's why preparing for a speech way ahead of time is a good idea. Don't wait until the last minute. So you practice in front of the camera or in front of the mirror. And once you feel a little bit more comfortable talking to the camera, what you can do is practice your speech. Don't try to use gestures. Just like talking with your best friend or talking to someone, you don't need to gesture on purpose, just like I'm gesturing right now. My gestures help emphasize the ideas that I'm trying to convey to you. So the same thing will happen when you practice in front of the mirror, and when you practice your speech, you will be able to use natural gestures. Point number 6, talk about something that you are passionate about. If you are asked to give a presentation for your local community, for example, first of all, know your audience well and ask, for example, if you don't know who you're talking to, ask the organizers and then come up with something that you really love talking about and adapt it to your audience. When you're talking with passion about a specific topic, you will relate to your audience because they will look at you, they will see how passionate you are about the topic. If there's only one thing that comes out of it, that they will be entertained. Don't underestimate the necessity to talk about something that you love. Number 7 is related to point number 6. Like I said, if you talk about something that you're passionate about, you need to adapt it to your audience. For example, if you're going to talk about something that's a little bit technical, I often come up with the example of being an engineer. If you're an engineer, so how can you water down the technical terms, the engineering technical terms for your audience? If you're speaking to an elderly group, for example, how can they use the engineering skills in their own lives? The same thing with a group of youth, for example. They may not know what the technical terms mean. However, if you explain to them in a fun way, they can take those tips and use them effectively in their lives. And that's the point of giving that speech. Point number 8 is to use humor, but appropriately. Don't tell jokes just because you want to make your audience laugh if it has no relevance to your speech. If your speech is a serious speech, there's probably no need to make your audience laugh. However, I've seen in the past people making jokes after joke without really delivering a message, which of course the audience was entertained. However, the speaker missed the mark. The idea was to deliver a message that the audience could come out with and use or just learn something. Overdoing with humor can have the adverse effect. Point number 9 is probably a point I should have started with at first. It is to give a clear structure to your speech, whether it be a written content or spoken speech. You need to have a clear introduction, body, and conclusion. In your introduction, you will introduce what you want to talk about. In your body, you will expand on what you introduced at the beginning. Now, if you don't have much time, limit your points to 3 to 5 points. If, for example, you're speaking for under 10 minutes, 5 points is about the limit. Otherwise, you're going to have to rush through your speech in order to be able to finish it on time. And finishing your speech on time is very important, especially if there's a lineup of other speakers after you. Try and remain within time. Finally, end with a strong conclusion and a strong call to action. What is it that you want your audience to come out with? Is it a call to action? Is it just a message? Is it to help your audience understand an important social issue? Make it clear, because the conclusion is the last point that your audience is going to listen to. So the conclusion is often the part of the speech that needs specific attention, but let's take the time to really make it a strong conclusion. So by using all those tips, how to be clear, how to use your voice, how to use your gestures, and so on, these tips will really help you, first of all, to grasp your audience attention and to keep it until the end of your presentation. So here you have it, folks. I hope those tips were helpful to you. And if you like this video, please consider giving it a like. Share the video with your friends and colleagues. And also, please subscribe to my channel because it really helps me. If you need to overcome specific fears, I've got a list of 10 fears down below. You can click on one or all of them. Also, down below, leave a comment. I'd like to know what you'd like me to cover in my next speech. Do you have a question for me? I'll be happy to do all the research and come up with the answer in my next video. Until then, I'm looking forward to seeing you in my next video. Oh, and please watch on these other videos. It might help you too.